Men, modern affairs don't just happen. They're meticulously coordinated through smartphones and friend networks that create invisible communication infrastructure, making betrayal nearly undetectable. Before we start, hit subscribe, drop a like, and comment if you discovered she was using these exact phone and friend coordination tactics to hide an affair. Your engagement helps other men recognize the technological and social infrastructure that enables undetectable betrayal. Tactic 1. Contact name disguising, hiding affair partner, in plain sight. When she's coordinating an affair, the affair partner isn't saved in her phone under his real name or anything that would immediately reveal his identity. She disguises his contact using female names, work-related labels, service provider names, or generic entries that seem completely innocent if you happen to see incoming calls or messages. The affair partner exists in her phone as someone you'd never question or investigate. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works by making affair partner communication invisible through contact camouflage. He's saved as Sarah, Mom, Dentist Office, Gym Trainer, or other innocuous labels. When he calls or texts, the notification appears completely innocent. She can communicate with him freely because even if you see her phone screen, the contact name reveals nothing suspicious. Friends know the code name and help maintain the disguise by never using his real name when discussing him where you might overhear. Notice if she has contacts that receive suspicious communication patterns. If Sarah texts constantly at odd hours, if Jim calls late at night, if Work Tom sends messages on weekends using language that doesn't sound professional, communication patterns don't match contact labels. Real contacts communicate in patterns consistent with their relationship. Disguised contacts have communication that doesn't align with who they're supposed to be. Watch whether she's protective of you seeing specific contacts. If she's fine with you seeing most of her phone but reacts protectively when certain contacts appear, if she quickly dismisses particular notifications, if she's selective about which messages she'll open when you're present, protected contacts likely aren't who their labels claim. Selective protection reveals disguised identity. Pay attention to whether contact names seem unnecessarily generic or vague. If she has multiple contacts with similar ambiguous names like friend from gym, old coworker, or Sarah M, without clear identification, vagueness serves disguise purposes. People typically save contacts with specific identifying information. Generic vague names hide identity rather than clarify it. Observe if certain contacts never get mentioned despite frequent communication. If someone supposedly texts her constantly, but she never mentions conversations with that person, if contacts appear repeatedly in notifications but never in her stories about her day, disconnect between communication frequency and acknowledgement reveals hidden relationship. Visible contacts should be mentioned in life narratives. Notice whether she's changed existing contact names. If you previously knew someone was saved under their real name, but discover later they're now saved differently. If contact names have been edited without explanation, changes indicate intentional disguise. People don't randomly rename contacts unless concealing them serves specific purpose. Why? This coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because contact disguising eliminates most obvious evidence, his name appearing on her phone. Even if you see her receiving constant messages, the sender appears innocent. Friend coordination reinforces disguise by never exposing real identity. Contact name disguising means affair partner communicates freely while remaining completely invisible to you. Tactic 2. App-based secret communication using hidden messaging platforms. When she's coordinating an affair, primary communication doesn't happen through regular texts and calls you might notice. She uses specific apps designed for hidden communication. encrypted messaging apps, disappearing message features, dating apps she claims not to use, or apps disguised as calculators or utilities that secretly store messages. Friends help identify which apps are safest and least likely to be discovered. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works by moving affair communication to platforms you don't monitor or don't know exist. She texts him through apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, or Snapchat, where messages disappear and notifications can be customized. She might use apps that look like innocent utilities, but actually hide photo galleries or message threads. Friends share information about which apps work best and how to configure them for maximum secrecy. Communication happens in digital spaces, completely separate from visible phone activity. Notice if she's downloaded apps that seem unnecessary or inconsistent with her stated interests. If she has dating apps she claims are deleted but still appear in app list. If she has messaging apps when regular texting should suffice. If multiple communication platforms exist without clear reason, redundant apps serve secret communication purposes. Why have 5 messaging apps unless different ones serve different audiences? Watch whether she guards specific apps more than others. If she'll let you see her regular texts, but never open certain apps in your presence. If specific apps are always closed immediately. If she has folders or screens of apps she navigates away from when you approach. Protected apps contain communication she's hiding. Selective app protection reveals where secret communication occurs. Pay attention to notification settings that seem designed for concealment. If certain apps have notifications disabled, if apps don't show message previews, if notification banners are configured to hide sender and content, settings are optimized for secrecy. People disable notifications to prevent information from being visible, not because they forget to check apps. Disabled notifications hide communication you're not supposed to see. Observe if she uses her phone differently when you're present versus absent. If she actively uses phone when alone, but puts it down when you're around. If certain apps only get opened when she has privacy. If phone usage patterns change dramatically based on your presence. Usage variation indicates hidden activities. Consistent phone use doesn't require privacy. Secret communication does. Notice whether she has apps that don't match her digital footprint. If she has apps she never mentions using. If apps exist without corresponding activity in her life. If certain platforms seem disconnected from her normal digital behavior. Unused apps aren't actually unused. They're used secretly. Apps present without visible purpose serve invisible purposes. Why? This coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because hidden app communication exists in digital space you never access. Even if you check her regular messages, affair communication happens on platforms you don't think to examine. Friends ensure she knows which apps are safest, how to configure them properly, and how to use them without creating detectable patterns. App-based secret communication creates parallel communication infrastructure invisible to partners. Tactic 3. Strategic phone positioning. Controlling physical access and visibility. When she's coordinating an affair, phone placement becomes strategic rather than casual. She positions her phone screen down constantly, takes it everywhere including bathroom, keeps it on her person rather than leaving it accessible, and creates physical barriers between you and phone content. Friends advise on positioning tactics that prevent accidental discovery while seeming like normal phone habits rather than suspicious protection. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works by ensuring you never have casual access to her phone or visibility of her screen. Phone stays face down, so incoming notifications aren't visible. She takes it everywhere to prevent you from seeing messages that arrive when she's not present. She creates distance between phone and you at all times. Friends reinforce that protecting phone privacy is healthy boundary rather than suspicious behavior, normalizing extreme phone protection. Notice if phone is always face down, regardless of location or context. If phone never sits face up on tables, counters, or surfaces where notifications would be visible. If positioning seems deliberate rather than random, consistent screen hiding protects notification content. Random phone placement results in varied positions. Strategic placement maintains constant concealment. Watch whether she takes phone to bathroom, shower, or other private spaces. If phone accompanies her everywhere, including places where it's not needed, if she never leaves it unattended, if bathroom trips always include phone, constant physical possession prevents your access. People take phones to bathroom occasionally. Taking phone every single time indicates protection rather than convenience. Pay attention to how she reacts when phone is out of her possession. If she's visibly uncomfortable when phone is charging in another room, if she checks on phone location frequently, if she's anxious when phone isn't within reach, anxiety reveals phone contains information that must be protected. Casual phone users don't experience distress from phone separation. Observe if phone positioning changes when notifications arrive, if she flips phone over when it buzzes, if she moves phone further from you when messages come in, if she physically shields screen when responding to notifications. Positioning adjustments protect incoming communication. If phone movement correlates with notification arrival, movement is defensive. Notice whether phone accessibility has changed over time. If you previously had casual access and it's now completely restricted, if phone has become increasingly protected, if evolution towards secrecy has been gradual, progressive restriction indicates developing need to hide content. Change behavior reveals changed circumstances requiring protection. Why this coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because physical phone control prevents accidental discovery. Even if communication isn't perfectly secured digitally, you can't see what you can't access. Strategic positioning means notifications, messages, and calls remain invisible. Friends normalize extreme phone protection as privacy boundaries, making suspicious behavior seem like healthy relationship practice. Physical control eliminates spontaneous discovery opportunities. Tactic 4. Time-based communication windows, scheduling contact around your availability. When she's coordinating an affair, communication with affair partner happens during specific time windows when you're unavailable to observe. She texts him during your work hours, calls during her commute, uses lunch breaks for communication, and coordinates with friends to know when communication is safe versus risky. Friends help map your schedule and alert when you're unexpectedly available, preventing communication during dangerous times. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works by restricting affair communication to times when you can't observe it. She knows your work schedule, your routines, your availability patterns. Affair partner knows to text during your meetings, call during your commute, communicate when you're occupied. Friends serve as lookouts who warn if you're coming home early, if plans change, if you're unexpectedly free. Communication timing is strategically managed to occur only during your unavailability windows. Notice if her phone activity changes dramatically when you're not present. If phone sits unused when you're together, but shows extensive activity when you check later. If message timestamps cluster during your absence. If communication happens in bursts during specific daily windows, timing patterns reveal coordinated communication that avoids your observation. Random communication happens randomly. Strategic communication follows patterns. Watch whether she becomes anxious when your schedule changes unexpectedly. If coming home early creates visible stress, if unexpected presence makes her uncomfortable, if schedule disruptions trigger unusual reactions, anxiety reveals communication timing you've disrupted. Surprise presence shouldn't create anxiety unless surprise interferes with activities that require your absence. Pay attention to whether she's unusually interested in your schedule details. If she asks detailed questions about your workday, wants to know exactly when you'll be home, seeks information about your availability and commitments, interest in your schedule serves her scheduling needs, interest lets her coordinate communication around your absence periods. Observe if certain times are consistently phone protected. If morning routine always involves extended bathroom time with phone, if lunch breaks are always private, if evening dog walks require phone accompaniment, recurring private phone times are scheduled communication windows. Regular patterns of phone privacy reveal regular patterns of protected communication. Notice whether friends seem aware of your schedule. If her friends know when you work, when you're home, when you're available, friend knowledge of your availability helps coordinate her communication timing. Friends wouldn't need your schedule information unless it's relevant to coordinating activities around your presence. Why this coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because time-windowed communication prevents you from ever witnessing affair partner contact. Communication happens exclusively during your absence. Even if communication is extensive, you never see it because timing is strategically managed. Friends function as early warning system, ensuring dangerous communication windows are avoided. Time coordination makes affair communication invisible through temporal rather than technical concealment. Tactic 5. Friend-based message relay, using friends as communication intermediaries. When she's coordinating an affair, direct communication between her and affair partner isn't always safe or practical. Friends serve as message relays where affair partner contacts friend who passes messages to her, or she tells friend what to communicate to him. This indirect communication leaves no direct connection between their phones, while allowing ongoing coordination. Friends become human communication infrastructure. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works by routing communication through intermediaries rather than direct contact. If her phone is being watched or questioned, direct messages from a affair partner would be suspicious. By using friends as relays, communication continues without direct digital connection. Friend receives his message and tells her in person or through phone call that seems like normal friend contact. She communicates back through same relay. Friends maintain communication channel while keeping their phones clean of direct affair partner contact. Notice if she has more communication with specific friends during suspicious periods. If certain friends text or call more frequently when affair indicators are present, if friend communication intensifies when direct affair communication would be risky, friends may be serving relay function. Increased friend contact during heightened suspicion serves communication maintenance through indirect channels. Watch whether friends deliver messages that seem oddly specific or urgent. If friend calls with information that seems more detailed than casual friend conversation, if messages from friends contain information that doesn't quite make sense as friend-to-friend content, content may be relayed from affair partner. Messages that don't fit normal friend communication patterns may originate elsewhere. Pay attention to whether she steps away to call friends back during suspicious times. If friend calls or texts, and she immediately seeks privacy to respond, if conversations with certain friends always require privacy, if she never has these friend conversations in your presence, protected friend communication may actually be relay communication about or with affair partner. Observe if friends contact her with timing that seems coordinated with other events. If friends call right after you've questioned her, if friends text when she needs alibis, if friend communication timing aligns with affair coordination needs, timing reveals purpose. Friends wouldn't coincidentally contact at precisely useful moments unless contact is coordinated. Notice whether friend communication includes phrases like, he said, or he wants to know. If friends reference unnamed men in communications, if third-party information is being passed through friend channels, if friends serve as messengers for information that doesn't originate with them, relay function is explicit. Friends discussing he, without clear identification, are relaying messages from hidden source. Why? This coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because message relay eliminates direct communication trail between her and affair partner. Even if you examine her phone completely, you won't find messages from him because communication routes through friends. Direct affair partner contact appears as innocent friend communication. Friend relay system maintains affair coordination while keeping her phone free of incriminating direct contact evidence. Tactic 6. Photo and content sharing control. Managing digital evidence. When she's coordinating an affair, photo sharing and digital content creation are carefully managed to avoid creating evidence while maintaining social media presence that appears normal. She and friends coordinate on which photos can be posted, which must be deleted, which locations to tag or avoid tagging, and how to create digital narrative that conceals affair activities. Friends help edit digital footprint to remove evidence while maintaining appearance of normal social life. How this coordination tactic works. This tactic works through collaborative digital content management, where friends know what can and cannot appear online. If she meets a affair partner somewhere, friends know not to post photos from that location. If timing would expose lies, friends avoid posting content with timestamps. Friends post carefully selected content that supports alibi narratives while excluding anything that would reveal affair. Digital evidence is curated collectively to show intended story while hiding actual activities. Notice if her social media presence has become notably curated or controlled. If spontaneous posting has been replaced by careful selective sharing. If photos appear with delay rather than real time. If content seems deliberately managed rather than casually shared. Curation serves evidence control. Authentic social media includes spontaneous moments. Managed social media protects against spontaneous exposure. Watch whether friends' social media avoids showing her during specific times. If friend posts from events show everyone except her, if she appears in some friend photos but is carefully absent from others, if visibility in friend content is inconsistent, selective appearance protects timeline. If friends sometimes tag her and sometimes don't. In similar contexts, tagging decisions serve narrative purposes. Pay attention to whether photos and posts seem scrubbed of location and timing data. If location tags are disabled, if posting times don't match when events actually occurred, if metadata seems stripped or obscured, technical evidence is being eliminated. People don't systematically remove location and time data unless that information would expose something. Observe if photo galleries on her phone seem incomplete or organized strangely. If certain time periods have no photos, if images are stored in hidden folders or secondary apps, if photo timeline has suspicious gaps, organization reflects evidence management. Normal photo storage is chronological and complete. Managed storage has strategic gaps and compartmentalization. Notice whether friends request photo deletion or avoid photo taking entirely during certain activities. If friends specifically ask that photos not be taken, if certain gatherings are documented while others aren't, if photography rules seem to exist for specific contexts, rules protect against creating evidence of activities that must remain invisible. Why? This coordination enables affairs. This coordination enables affairs because digital evidence control prevents the photo and social media trail that would expose affair activities. Even if she's with a affair partner in public, coordinated content management ensures no digital evidence exists. Friends help maintain clean digital narrative that supports alibis while excluding anything that would contradict cover stories. Digital curation makes affairs invisible in the social media record most people rely on to verify activities.